Big issues, big guest in studio with us. Ryan Walters, who's been on with us at least 20 times, it seems like, former head superintendent of schools in Oklahoma, and somebody now affiliated or running a group. He'll give us the exact details. That is saying, and correctly, you can get rid of the Department of Education, but the teachers' unions, the money contributed, the foot soldiers, but more importantly, how far they're willing to go to continue a progressive, let's call it that, view of America or anti-American view. Ryan, good to meet you. Welcome in studio. Before we get to why you're traveling the country and here tonight at Heritage Foundation and all that, your biggest takeaway, you would start with Mondani, I guess, as far as a gap in the education system to say what about socialism?
Yeah, no, I would say a couple things. And again, very nice to meet you in person. Always great to
Absolutely.
be on. But boy, it's
Yeah.
super special being here in
Yeah.
person. My first couple takeaways are, number one, we have got to stay vigilant. When you see a candidate that I'll give him some credit about
Right.
being very upfront about
Right.
his socialism, communist views. We have got to be motivated to get folks out to the polls. We have got to be motivated to get a policy agenda across the finish line that people see the actions from it. And then number two, I think, one of the most concerning things I heard both as a teacher and as Secretary of Education over Oklahoma was when I had young people talk about socialism and communism as a new idea, as an exciting idea, as something to try. And this is what has happened when teachers' unions have controlled our schools for decades and driven home free market bad, capitalism bad, socialism, communism good, and then no context of history to say, actually, you can look through the track record here, and it's very clear where socialism and communism and Marxism and all these different ideologies lead.
Yeah, you hit upon it there. This is a new idea somehow or another. So what kind of reform, what did you try to do in Oklahoma? What could you do?
Yeah, well, what we did in Oklahoma is, first of all, we ran the teachers' unions out. We said,
Right.
listen, you're not going to be able to use taxpayer dollars to do this scheme anymore.
Right.
That was big. We then got universal school choice. But then the thing that we did to really address the argument about capitalism, socialism, is we rewrote our history standards. And we were very explicit. You are going to teach that the free market in an economics class, what it does, what it has done for America, what the founders said about it. Adam Smith, you're going to get into the basics of it, and you're going to drive it through American history. You're also going to study communism and socialism. You study what happened in the USSR. You study what happened in China. And these are so important that kids have that context. It's the good. It's what made America great. Those are very important. It's also the dangers of what we've seen in other countries. So we make them read those primary sources where they are going to read the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, Federalist Papers, not just what somebody said about
Well,
them,
Ryan,
but
the argument the other side always, the New York Times had a Ryan Walters desk, I'm told, is that's just suppressing free speech. Why can't the teacher teach communism is good in American schools? Come on, we're advanced now.
Yeah, well, you don't get to indoctrinate kids. I mean,
Okay,
that's a reality is, the free speech argument. No, you're there to be a teacher.
Right.
You are there to teach kids subject matter. You're not there. This isn't this isn't your own show here. You don't get to go in and tell them whatever you want. No. That's why states have standards. And I would encourage anybody listening, the standards are so important. What are your teachers teaching in school? And again, what we said is they're going to teach primary sources. When we talk about the Constitution, they're going to read the Constitution.
Right.
When we talk about the Federalist Papers, they're going to
Right.
read the Federalist Papers. And just look at some of the fights going on here on the East Coast right now. There's a bill they're trying to get through Virginia to say, we want the kids to read all of these documents. And you have pushback from college professors going, this leads to indoctrination from the right. I go, how is reading these documents indoctrination?
Yeah,
But
primary source. Exactly.
and that's what we've got to get back to. I mean, first of all, it's so much more difficult for them to indoctrinate your kids when they're actually reading the documents. But number two, I'm going to tell you, kids fall in love with it. When they read Washington's words, Jefferson's words, there's a power to that.
Let's talk, too, about what you're doing now, along with Corey DeAngelis, or Corey's in that general vein, and the Heritage Foundation, et cetera. You took a high perch there, as I said, New York Times desk and all that, and you're doing this now to take away some of the power of the teachers' unions. What's their power? Well, I'll give you an example, one that I know. In New Jersey, when I was a teacher, by law, I never saw my paycheck without the dues being taken out before I had anything to say about it. Supreme Court, seems like 100 years ago, has ruled you have a right to work. You don't have to be a member of the union. Do teachers know that, or what is the difficulty with more of them? I think the numbers are paltry
Yeah.
as far as those that have pulled away from the union.
Yeah. And yeah, so the group that I'm with now, I'm the CEO of the
Right.
Teacher Freedom Alliance. Everybody come check it out, teacherfreedom.com. What we're doing is what you just said so well, Dom, is what the teachers union has done a great job of is they come in and they have used policies and they have used school districts to take money from teachers' paychecks, lie about what they do with that money. They don't come right out and tell you, hey, we're going to spend over 90% of our union dues into Democratic campaigns. They don't say that.
Right.
They don't say,
Right.
hey, we're taking money from you to fund Democrat policies. What they say is, oh, teachers, we're just an association. We're here to help you and blah, blah, blah. And what we're trying to do is shine a light on that and go, teachers, don't buy that. Here's what they're doing. They are pushing the most radical left-wing agenda in the country. They're doing it by spending your dollars politically. And again, frankly, here's what we're doing. We're saying, well, teachers, what do you need? You want professional development? At the Teacher Freedom Alliance, we offer that. No
Right.
left-wing indoctrination, just helpful material with your craft. Liability insurance, in case you get sued, we've got that for you as well. And so come join teacherfreedom.com. That's where we're doing this. And we're going to take the fight aggressively to the union, because what you've seen is a group that has so much power and control over state legislatures and statewide elected officials that they've been able to set up a situation where they are taking from teachers' paychecks without teachers knowing. They are bullying
Right.
and pressuring teachers.
Would you agree the best we saw was during COVID? I mean, when Randy Weingarten was able to pull back the CDC at that level very, very quickly, the NEA, at least Randy Weingarten is a ferocious opponent. The woman who heads up the NEA is nuts.
Yeah.
The stuff that she does, and that's a bigger union.
Yeah. I mean, look, and for all your listeners, don't forget that was a shakedown. Hey,
Right.
we'll open schools back up if you give us billions of dollars. That's
Right.
what we'll do
Right.
here. And that's what they do on a regular basis. It is always a shakedown of taxpayer dollars to enter into their coffers. And yeah, Randy Weingarten just wrote her a book calling President Trump a fascist. She did an interview on CBS the other day, called me a fascist, said I was one of the reasons she wrote her book. And I go, hey, that's great. I appreciate it.
Oh, my God, I'd be taking out billboards. Can you put in a good word for me?
Exactly.
That's a Giordano guy,
Exactly.
right? Well,
Yeah.
you got to feel good about that when you're arriving at the level of Trump and fascism. I should have saluted when you came in here differently, Ryan Walters.
Well,
That's pretty good.
And again, it's a sign that we're over the target, and it's a sign
Right.
that they understand we're not going to back down from them. We are going to take them on directly. There's a lot of good teachers out there that don't want to be in the union, but they are nervous about what happens when I leave. That's what we're doing at the Teacher Freedom Alliance. To go, we've got your back. We'll make sure that you get all the credits that you need as a teacher. We'll help you in that way, but we're also going to protect you legally, because we hear this all the time, Dom. My administrators are going to come after me when I leave the union. I'm going to have these left-wing activists now that target me without that protection.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the numbers? Give us on the broad scope, not exact ballpark. How
Yeah.
many since we've had that Supreme Court decision? It seems
Yeah.
piddling to me until you guys have come along, because, yeah, you can do it. And I was inside that, but a lot of them are afraid of being blackballed.
Yep.
It's uncomfortable, and or they're in league with the administrators who might come after you.
That's a great point. So what we've seen since Janice is the teachers leaving the teachers union. It is still a record. We've seen more
Right.
than ever. But
Right.
I agree with you, Dom. We dug into this, and when we looked at this and said, well, why aren't teachers leaving the unions as much as they are other unions that
Right.
we've seen? And I think a huge part of what we heard and what we saw is the teachers are concerned about, once I leave, am I just a sitting duck?
Right.
What is going to happen to me? Because remember, most states, I got to go back to the union to keep my teaching certification. I've got to go
Right.
to their trainings. I've got to go through their process. How am I going to do that? And then we see the bullying and the targeting of them by the union. We were just in Colorado Springs
Right.
where they were calling them scabs for going to work during a strike. They were doxing them, putting their addresses out.
Mhm.
And so part of why we started this organization was, when you leave, they've got to have a place to land, and they've got to have a place where they feel protected and they're able to work together. So since we've created this, we've seen thousands of teachers join our organization in just less than 2 months. We're starting to see more of that movement. So I think teachers needed to see, is there a place for me to go once I leave, or am I just going to be sitting out there by myself? And that's part of what we're doing, is creating that organization.
What about the argument, and I can buy into some of this, that teachers feel that this is such a you taught 10 years. You know what I'm talking.
Yep.
I mean, I had one guy take out a ruler and just be measuring between the desk. It wasn't 12 inches between the desk in a row. They're afraid somebody's going to come after them, and the union is a bulwark against just being vilified, even though you're a really good teacher.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where the liability insurance comes in. And
Okay.
that's why we
Right.
offer it to all
Right.
the teachers to go, listen, that is a very rare situation, but we'll cover you. You know, we'll absolutely cover you. And that's really cheap. But this is what the union does. They say, hey, we'll cover you with liability insurance that costs $40 or $50 a year, and then
Mhm.
charge the teachers over $1,000. And so that's
Right.
where, again, they do just enough to get the teachers in the door, and then they funnel that money into political causes.
Big picture, do we have any data on how popular are teachers' unions? I think they're more popular than listeners might think they are. Given what they've been up to, are they relatively popular still? Because people think, well, it's just a group of teachers, and I like my kid's teacher.
Now, this is what we've got to be very cognizant of, and I'm glad you brought
Uh,
that up. The teachers union does a great job of marketing themselves
Right,
as just
right,
your average
right.
teacher. As a matter of fact, they do a very good job of marketing themselves to teachers as the teachers oftentimes don't see the big national entity they're paying into. They
Mhm.
see Miss Johnson at the end of the
Right,
hallway, right? And
particularly in a place like Oklahoma where you are.
exactly.
Right, yeah.
But then one of the things that we tell everybody that I think is very important is remember that 60% of dues get passed on
Mm,
to the national entity.
right,
So that is very okay, guys. We're not talking even when you say, "Well, it's the local chapter and it's a
right.
bit." No, no, no. They are taking advantage of every member and funneling that money up to Randy Weingarten, up to the heads of the organization. They are very top heavy. It is driven from the top, and that's what we've got to continue to showcase. Is this is a money laundering scheme for the Democrat Party, and frankly, they are the furthest left part of the Democrat Party. This is one of the organizations that is pulling that Democrat Party more and more to a Marxist bent. But you don't have to look any further than the teachers union.
And the power to a politician is the money, but also the foot soldiers.
And that's again our organization. We're creating an army. We're creating an
Mm,
army to fight
mm.
back because you have to have that. Because what we've continued to see is we'll take the elections from last night.
Yeah.
They are able, it is money, but it is the ability to turnkey hundreds and thousands of people to go out and mobilize to vote, to go ahead and mobilize and
Here's
join
what I
them.
wanted to ask you about that too. And you're savvy with so many hats. My sense, the guys that, yeah, I differ with them on some things, say the building trades unions are lumped in, or the auto union is in with the college professor union at the national level. And I'm not sure if there's awareness of that type of thing because those two entities, the teachers' unions nationally, are anti American in my view.
Yeah.
The labor unions, by and large, the guys in it, they're not.
Yeah.
So, how does that go breaking that sector of these disparate unions apart?
Yeah, that's a great point. I want to say two things
Yeah.
on that. Number one is I think there's a big difference between private sector unions and
Right.
public sector
Exactly.
unions.
Yeah.
And when you talk about education, remember education is so governed by the states, especially since
Right.
President Trump has done what he's done to eliminate the Department of Education. Your state picks salary. Your state determines
Mm.
how much money goes into education, things like that. So why do you have a union that is in leveraging taxpayer dollars the way that they are? But the second part is I completely agree. The ideology of the teachers union is what is so radical. I mean, we are not dealing with again, look at the things they are pushing and advocating for. DEI, this Marxist agenda undermining American
Mhm.
history, transgenderism. They are the prime pushers of transgender education in our schools and think
Mhm.
about the insanity of that. But leveraging their power, leveraging their money to push transgenderism on kindergarten kids, that tells you what you need to know about them. And again, they are the most radical organization out there. And so, yeah, I think we talk about the teachers union very specifically as what they are, this danger to the country.
Where do people go? They know a teacher, they are a teacher and all. Where do they go to join what you guys are doing?
Teacherfreedom.com. It's free to join for all the teachers out there.
Mhm.
But I would also ask your listeners, we want everybody to join. So whether you're a parent, grandparent, taxpayer, join. We'll keep you updated on how you can help, how you can assist us moving forward, because we are going to build this teacher army to take the classrooms back, make the classrooms great again. And we're taking Randy Weingarten head on, and she knows it. She's scared, and she should be.
Now that's the debate I would have to love to see. So you're on the list, though. Trump and Ryan Waters, any other fascist? that she listed?
I think they had me, and so they literally put our pictures on stage and put a target over our head. Randy Weingarten did. It was me, it was President Trump, I believe Corey DeAngelis made the list.
Of course, yeah.
Chris Rufo. There were four of us. So it was kind of like, there you go. Hey, I'll gladly be on the list with those gentlemen.
Well, enjoy Philadelphia. I know you have a big event tonight, and keep us in the loop as this continues for updates, Ryan. Thank you. Thanks for joining us here.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, more coming up at 855-839-1210.